welcome to another episode of Krier's Corner. As I got started doing these videos, I realized that some people might be watching these for the first time as a singer or attempting to be a singer, and they might get overwhelmed with some of the things that I've been working on. So I wanted to back up. That's why I'm calling this episode 0, even though I filmed a few of these. Episode 0 is going to be all about, I want to sing, but I don't have the confidence. And sometimes it is that. It's the confidence to just start. And sometimes I see this in young men or sometimes adult men who have never sang in their entire life. And so I'm just going to do some simple exercise this morning. And the thing I want you to remember as I do these exercises that just like anything in life, if you train it, it'll get better. And this is a muscle. Some people think that I'm born with this or my family sings. No, it's a muscle. And if your family sings, maybe you've sang with your family, and so you've built that muscle up. It has nothing to really to do with genetics or anything. It has to do with the muscle and how we train. So we're going to get your muscle started this morning from step 1. So in later videos, I do stuff about posture and breath and lots of different things. We're just going to get the instrument going. So in order to get the instrument going, I need air. Air goes down to my lungs. So when I breathe in for singing, I want to breathe to my lungs, not my chest. If I breathe in my chest, sometimes I do this. I fix my posture as I breathe and take a really good breath in. We really don't want that when we sing. We want our posture to be fixed up nice and tall. And so we breathe it for singing. It's really just our lungs. So you want to concentrate on taking low breaths. That's your mechanism. That's what you want to work on. We don't do this when we sit at work or if we're in school. We don't breathe to our lungs. We just breathe really shallow to our chest. And that's essentially how we live. When we do public speaking or singing, we do a lot of lower breathing, intercostal breathing. I always think like it makes me sound like Darth Vader, even though we don't want sound when we breathe down low. So that's one thing. Getting started with pitch. We were all little boys. We all were like, so that's our pitch working up and down. And so if you you haven't sang for a long time, or especially if you've just gone through the voice change, your voice can be really low, because if you talk lower, you'll have a lower singing voice. So I'm going to kind of start lower, and I'll address our unchanged voices towards the end of the video. So if you're like middle school or a young high school boy, your voice might not have changed yet. And so then what do we do and how do we handle that situation? So we're going to rev up the voice. So I'm just humming. I'm just making my voice go up and down. I'm going to go low now. Like, oh, man, Todd, I can't do buzzes with my lips. Buzzes do take air. That's why I'm using those right now. So we'll just do ooh. If I'm feeling really brave, I do this in class all the time. We go So I'm just trying to move up your voice wherever you're at. So just so you know, everybody's got a certain range in their voice. And our job, if we haven't sang a lot or ever, is just to start working on increasing that range. Most people can sing about 1.5 octaves to 2 octaves, and some people can sing much more because they just work out that muscle a lot more. So I'm going to start kind of how I start my younger singers, and it's called, I just use a bum, B-U-M. Bum, bum, bum. I have a piano here, but I'm not really sure where even that pitch is at. Bum, bum, bum. Just try matching that. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. That's sort of the lower end of my voice. I'll try to go a little lower. Let's try to go a little higher. Bum, 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 bum. Let's try to go a little higher. Bum, 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 bum. If you're still struggling, like I don't even know if I have the first pitch, then we just do this. Bum, 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 bum. used BUM bum when I was working on my master's degree in music education. That was one of the things in my master's study. It was just starting with one pitch on a really simple syllable. So I'm just trying to like lock you in on a key maybe you feel comfortable with. Now this is very low for me down here, but generally our guys whose voices have changed, or adult males who haven't sung much, that's kind of where their voice sometimes sits. It sits lower. And again, this is a muscle, and we're trying to build the confidence within your muscle, okay? So now as we've seen some of these exercises, I'm gonna teach you something that's called audiate. So I'm gonna play these exercises 2 times, and the first time, I'm gonna sing it and play it, just so you can hear it in a couple different ways. The second time, you sing it. And so the first time is called audiate, where you just listen and kind of have your brain sing it to you, and then you sing it. And the second thing you can do as you sing is, I call it the cell phone effect. Someone taught me that. Sometimes you see singers doing this, and I think sometimes they're plugging their ears so they can hear themselves better. Sometimes they're taking their hand, if you can see it, and they're putting it, kind of their finger right here, and they're not covering their ear. They're actually like they're on the phone. So I might not even touch it all the way. So you can like say, hello, hello, and you can hear yourself through that voice. Now if you cover it completely and touch your cheek and say hello, hello, you can't hear anything, because that's not how you talk on a phone. You generally keep a little bit of space, and that's so that your voice can hit your hand and travel up to your ear. And that's so you can hear yourself a little bit better too. Sometimes we just don't hear ourselves well enough, or maybe we're in church, or we're in our car, and we have a lot of sound or music around us. We don't really hear ourselves sing. So that's one thing too, is kind of listening to yourself and where you're at. Bum, 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 bum. Now you sing. Bum, 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 bum. Going up. Bum, 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 bum. Going, your turn. Bum, 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 bum. Going up. Bum, 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 bum. One thing I kind of want to mention as you're getting ready to sing and singing is having kind of a goal in mind. What do you want to sound like? And one thing, when I was younger, I always tried to sing along with some of my favorite songs and artists. And there's such an array of artists. I tried singing along with hairband music a lot, or the 80s hairband artists, and those guys have really high voices. And although that worked for a time, as I got older, I was like, man, I just can't really sing that. Find an artist who you really love, and maybe if you have a lower voice, finding like a low artist you like Johnny Cash, who's got a really awesome low voice, or Josh Turner, who's got a really cool low voice if you're a low singer. If you're a higher singer, there's tons to choose from. So I'm thinking Jason Mraz and some more higher modern artists, things like that. So find an artist that you like, you want to mimic, and kind of start there as another listening point, jumping off point. That sometimes helps a lot, guys. I'm going to kind of go into this next part is, okay, I can't sing that low at all. What do I do? So if your voice is unchanged, generally where you're going to be is a little bit, it's kind of like this weird sweet spot between a tenor and an alto. Sometimes you'll be able to sing a lot of alto notes and a lot of tenor notes if your voice hasn't changed yet. So we're going to go up here. Try this one with me. Again, we'll do the same thing we were doing before in the low range. So I'm kind of my head register now, and the one thing you need to remember is that all of us started out as sopranos and altos before our voice changes and we become tenors or basses. And we're used to singing in that we're used to singing that soprano and alto range. So when our voice changes, and that's sometimes why we have a hard time hearing the pitches. So this is specifically for you guys who haven't changed yet. Stay in your head voice, stay in your higher voice. Sometimes I'll keep guys in their head voice up until they really are comfortable in their lower voice. And that's totally okay, because we can still sing these notes. So here is your warm up now. We're gonna do break it down and do that a little bit simpler. Bum, 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 go. Bum, bum, bum. We'll go lower. Bum, 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 go. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Lower. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. bum, 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 bum. We'll do the last one here. Bum, 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 bum. Lastly on the segment, you might like, what is my voice part? Where am I at? Am I a tenor? Am I a bass? And so I'm going to break this down to, if you're in a men's choir, because you could be a tenor or bass, but not all tenors and basses are created equal. So I want to kind of give you kind of where you kind of want to sing around. So I'm going to start with my low basses, then work up to my tenor ones. So if I'm a low bass, I generally can sing this note pretty well. I'm not a low voice, but I'm not warmed up quite yet. So that's kind of a nice low ringing note for me at the moment. So if I'm a low bass, a bass 2, I want to be able to sing down to this note for sure. And I can barely sing that note. Some days. But if you have that note and it's really loud, that's a great note. That's a low F. I generally like all my low basses to have that note handy. If you're like, I'm a bass, I'm definitely a low singer, but I can't sing that low, I generally like to put you around here. Ma, 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 la, 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 la. That's going to kind of be in the baritone range. So here was the low bass range. Ma, 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 ma. That's a low bass. If I'm going to run baritone, I'm going to run you up that scale. Ma, 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 la, la, la. It's a really comfortable note for you. You might be a baritone. I'm going to run up to the next one. La, 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 la. This is right around middle C. This is a tenor 2 kind of range. It's kind of the middle of your range where you like to be. And it doesn't mean that's the only note I can sing or the only 3 notes, but that's kind of like the, yeah, right in there is kind of the middle of my range. La, 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 la. That's kind of a tenor 2-y range, okay? Now I'm going to move up to tenor 1. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. So right in that general range is going to be kind of my tenor 1. So hopefully from like this note to this note, and then you kind of find that one that kind of fits your voice the best. So this would be my bass note. My baritone note was here. Tenor 2. Tenor 1. And all guys can sing that note in their falsetto or head voice. So sometimes even low basses, low basses are really great at singing tenor 1 because it's just in their falsetto. And come on, let's face it, who doesn't like singing their falsetto once in a while? I hope you enjoyed this version of Krier's Corner, which was episode 0, kind of going back to the very beginning before we do any singing, kind of find out a little bit more about your voice. Have fun and just work that muscle, train it, and don't be afraid to go into a room by yourself. Sometimes in society, it's been one person that's told you, oh, you can't sing, don't sing. Oh, you're singing too loud. Oh, Dad, you're terrible. Those negative comments, they can kind of become garbage, and we don't need that. So just, if you want to sing, sing. One of the most favorite things I get to do is I get to sing with my children, and that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's never too late to start. I loved hearing my dad sing, and my dad sang all these 50 tunes. I'm not sure if he sang in tune at all, but I still sing those songs from the 50s and 60s because my dad always had them playing. And so find songs you like, find songs you want to sing, songs around the campfire, you want to do that with your kids. But keep singing. It'll make your life better, and it's not too late to start.